1. Good job, John. Disappearing right at the nick of time. Hey guys. Man, what a whirlwind of a morning and day it has been. But hey, we're here. So how you guys been? I'm gonna turn, so I have two basically screens, and when you guys are chatting and stuff, I look to my right. So hey, hello from Poland. What's up? Hey Richard, audio sounds great. Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Jeremiah, who else do we have? Andre. Hey, what's up, Brett? Oh my god, you made it here so fast. Oh my gosh, yeah, Brett. He there was a countdown, and then he was like zipping up his bag and just trying to run out of here as fast as possible. And as soon as I hit, I think the stream button, he like darted out the door. So hey, what's up, JD? Oh my gosh, you guys. Oh, what a day it has been. So just a quick intro. Brett Thompson is the CEO, founder of Eon, Eon Art, Eon Ink, right? So him and his crew makes the paper that I enjoyed so much for well over 20 years now. So thanks for joining me, Brett. And I just put in an order for some more paper. So your girl's good to go to finish up Neo Wonderland. So thanks, Brett. Hey, what's up, Arthur? It's state of the art. Hey. Thank you for correcting me, Brett. It's Eon Art Products and Artboards and Ink. Yes. It's super duper duper awesome. And you're so accommodating too. And so I've got some of your paper on my desk right now, actually. So I'll probably just look for a page to draw. But just quickly, today I spent like all morning and all last night getting the Neo Wonderland official website going and the newsletter. And since it's brand new, there's just all this tech stuff that decided it didn't want to work at the same time. So I unfortunately cannot send you guys to the site at this very second. But it was so close. It was working and then it stopped working. So let's see what we're gonna work on today. Yeah, I've just been doing tech stuff all day, so drawing was not actually in my schedule. And getting all the the logistics ready for the Kickstarter. We did all that this week, so that was pretty nice. And special shout out to the team for helping me out a lot, because without them nothing would get done. So let's do this one. Let's try this one. Yeah, Dave, I'm trying to Dave Art, I'm thinking I want to ink today, because then it's just like it's going to be easier to see on screen. So it's kind of, I'll do this one for now and see how I feel. But I think maybe there's a page that I should probably start working on right now. You know what? Let's go with these guys again. Yeah, let's do this page. Let's do 2 pages. How about that? Or 2 panels from 2 separate pages. And let me show you guys really quick. I have, so I built this little super duper teeny tiny layout spreadsheet in a way where it's like really small thumbnails and laying out the page. And I kind of learned this technique from Francis Manifold. Even though he does it on the in a software, I decided that it was really a good idea to take all your thumbnails and then put them all on one page, so you can see the flow of the story and like kind of like the story arcs. And if there's too many of one thing happening with like the scene breakdown, and maybe the panel layouts look too similar to each other. So I decided to do it this way. That way I know, because there's like so many pages, how much of the story I already have figured out, and if there's something that's just kind of not working. So luckily for me, I'm the artist and the writer, so I'm able to like go in there and change things around. But if I was to work with obviously an editor, writer, everybody else, or a letterist, you know, it'd be a lot harder to go in there and change things. So, all right. Oh, JD, thank you for even stopping by and hanging out with us on a Saturday. Happy birthday to your brother. Yeah. So it's your boy Mike asked Brett if he's... Oh, okay, there you go. Considering bringing back the manga video, but we can always talk custom book orders. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Hey, Juncum from Brazil. What's up? Zellinger. Hey, what's up? What's going on? We're going to shake off all the tech cobwebs from... Or not cobwebs, all the tech stuff from today, and we're going to start drawing. Mind you, I have not warmed up all day today, so I don't know how this stuff is going to look. Hopefully pretty good. Luckily for me, the line's already drawn, so I don't have to do anything. Yes, happy birthday to your brother again. Thank you for hanging out with us this week. I'm sure I'll see you around the webs for sure. See if I missed anybody. Jeremiah, yeah, this is a live stream. I know. Usually it's a premiere and it's like a pre-recorded episode, which I haven't had any time to work on lately. So I think this is the best bet, especially because right now I'm trying to launch my so this book, like publish it and everything. It's like I think it's just much easier for me to do it this way, and then I could have feedback from you guys. And I am filming episodes for kind of the behind the scenes stuff of this whole entire book, which I'm trying to figure out when that's going to launch and how that's going to come about. So heck, we're going to use our two trusty brushes again this time, the Kiritake and like the Artist Lofts. I think it's, like I said, I think it was a cheaper brush from Michael's craft store. So, or was it? Yeah, I think it was Michael's. Oh, thank you so much, Gencom. Yeah, Lola is my first baby, and this one will be my second, which is kind of backwards because I came up with this concept over 25 years ago. So, silly story. And I think I was talking to Brett and from Eon, and I was like, dude, I showed people the pages that I worked on, like, was it 20 years ago almost? Or about that time, almost 20 years ago. And it was on the older Eon paper. I mean, we go a long way, so that's pretty insane to me. Both the fact that this story took that long to finish and the fact that I've known you for a long time. So you made me feel like a legit artist. Okay, so Paper Slayer. Yes, that's right, Maurice. I love that word, Paper Slayer. I'm gonna like see a Paper Slayer. That will be my name. So Brett asked, when did you get to a point in your process that you began inking on loose pencils? That's the wild confidence. That's a good question. I think when I was working on Lola, let's start here. A few years back, because I was coloring with markers and multi-liners, and we had to speed through that process so much that I started making my pencils less tight, you know. So let me see if this is clear enough. Okay. So that's when I got kind of comfortable, but I've gotten more comfortable as I started sketching in my sketchbook more, you know, and knowing that I could ink my own work, it made it so that I was less tight with my pencils. Not to mention, like, sometimes I'll take my layout and either on a scratch piece of 11 by 17 paper, I would actually just lay it out that way, full size, and then I just, you know, light box my lines, or just, you know, like taking a small thumbnail, expanding it like by about 65% or something like that on copy paper, and then just light boxing it that way too. And you can see that process in some of my other videos. So The way I like to do this is I don't like to start, you know, on the details right away. I usually start with the bigger, broader shapes just to feel like I've accomplished something, and because big shapes are so important to the flow of the panel. You don't want to over detail too early on in case you have like a tight deadline. It's better to get the really big, broad shapes out of the way first. But since I haven't done any art at all today, I'm just gonna do what my brain feels like it needs to do to get warmed up. So I was wondering if you helped me to get time done stream. Hey, Smoke Zellinger, I could help you out in the comments section, like below where I have time to read and kind of process some stuff that you had going on, or that you wanted feedback on, if that's okay. Let's see. Oh yeah, that manga size paper from Eon was awesome. Thanks to Brett for designing that. It was pretty amazing. And it's such nice quality paper compared to a lot of other brands that I use for manga. It's really flimsy, you know, so let's see. So, Mike asked if this will be colored with Copics or screen tones. Unfortunately, I won't be able to do the interior with Copics, but I will likely be able to do the covers with ink and Copic markers, and I will be using screen tones on this one. So yeah, that will be screen tones. It's just for time and to be able to get this story out there. I can't spend too much time on the actual coloring part itself because I'm kind of paying myself at this point, so it's really hard to spend a ton of time doing something when I need to get this out there and you know, make some money. Oh, so I didn't know that they don't have Lola in Brazil. Or yeah, I guess it's really hard to get it out there if it's not already going through another distributor, which, you know what, I'm gonna talk to Aspen about distribution for overseas. I know that they have it in Europe, or I thought they did, but I'll find out for you guys. Oh, Morris, it's my daughter's birthday today, 3 or 4 years ago. I gave her your coloring book as a birthday present. Oh my gosh. Morris, tell your daughter happy birthday. That's awesome. Aw. Are you guys celebrating it right now or later or already? Hope I'm not pulling you away from your celebrations. Hey, what's up, Voodoo 4? Nice to see you again. Thanks, Xavier. The audio is working today. It's not perfect. I have not set up my recording studio, so there's a bit of bounciness with the audio, and I haven't had anything I haven't soundproofed this room yet, so it's not going to be done for a while. Okay, I feel a little bit more warmed up. I think I could go ahead and just ink the outer shapes like I mentioned, so you kind of see how I would normally approach it when I'm not like sluggish. I was working on the website like I mentioned earlier, and kind of had to cram everything in to get things done on time and for the stream, because I had to reconnect all the gear again. So it's been a whirlwind. And this book is moving right on along. I'm excited to get the first 2 issues done. And this kind of keeps me on my toes too. Like, I have to work on it regardless. But I am working on like commissions on the weekends. So after I finish this, I jump onto those things. And then, you know, back to getting the Kickstarter ready to launch in October. Oh, awesome. That's good to know of, Morris. Must be such a trip to have your daughter grow so fast right before your eyes, right? 1 minute they're 3 and the next minute they're 10. Miss Mark, you made it. Yes. Didn't you you started a new schedule or a job where you're not working on Saturdays? I think that's what you told me. We're moving right on along right now. I'm actually surprised. I thought for sure today I was just lost my mind. Okay. Then again, if my pencils were a little bit more loose in this, it'd be really hard to try to ink it at this stage because it's kind of loose. You know, some of the panels aren't like super detailed. So. And I'm talking, which I'm not very good at talking and drawing at the same time, or inking. So how many of you are actually working on your own stuff right now? Oh, nice. State of art. What are you working on? Smoke Zillinger. Okay, sure. Yeah. You know what? Let me message you back in the comments after we finish the stream. If you write a comment so I could, respond back to it, that would be great. And I mean, speaking of video game portfolios, I know the perfect person that would be able to answer that. Let me kind of get back in touch with him. We were supposed to record an episode together, but he and I both kind of had like our schedules were so crazy, I think a year ago, that we hadn't had the time to like reconnect again. But I have somebody that would be able to help you really kind of curate your video game portfolio. Concept art portfolio. Wim's Lore is drawing alongside me. Yay! This is what it's about. Knowing that you guys are drawing, even if I don't see what you're drawing right now, like it makes me feel less like in a bubble, Like I'm a very social person. So, being an artist was like the kind of the opposite of how I like to operate. So I need constant human interaction, stimulation, like all the time, background noise, even birds. 8 pages short. Sokolov art. Yeah, I know the feeling. Like you're just racing across the finish line and 5 pages feels like forever. Trevor, you've been on a hiatus. Oh, I know. I mean, it's like if I wasn't doing it for a living, I wonder how I feel about like taking a break. And you know what I think it actually is, because drawing or creating is like a muscle. It's like a muscle that you have to work out. Like if you don't go to the gym for even a week, you get all sluggish. So you have to like tap into certain parts of your mind and your your muscles just to kind of get back into it. But I've never been able to take a break for a long period of time from drawing. So like I've never really felt that lull. But I do get kind of like down sometimes when my art doesn't look the way I want it to, because I've got so much stuff going on in my life that it's like it does distract you from the work, and so you kind of have to find something else to draw that's not work related, I guess, if that was me. Hello, Walter. Hello, The Goat Gaming. I remember. I love that name. The Goat Gaming. I was playing Call of Duty last night, and I did pretty good. I was actually happy I got top 3 a couple times, and that never happens. I was on fire. Oh, Joey. Hey, what's up? I am to the second book of my first ever graphic novel. Nice. So sweet. The Fallen Star Gods. It's self-published on Amazon. Plus, I work at Amazon. I have something that's published on Amazon. My coloring book is published on Amazon, and John has books on Amazon. So yeah, it's actually a really good way to get your feet wet, to publish your own stuff and get consistent. I think publishing your own stuff on Amazon is the smartest thing to do. You're not like having to store all the stuff, and then you could print it on demand whenever you need it. So, and you get ranked as well. So hey, it's a win-win, right? Hey Joe, I'm good, thank you. Busy today, but I'm very good. Xavier, I think that once we kind of got in that mode of like kind of feeling isolated for a few years, it becomes like a something you have to snap out of, kind of, right? Like because we're so used to it. So, and I was living in the woods for 5 years, so I totally get it. My formative years, how many hours did I draw a day? I would say 10. And now, give or take, it's about 8 to 10 hours still. But nowadays I get to like walk away from my desk and do other things. But when I first started out, I was there most of the time. So I'm still drawing a lot. I don't know if I can't not draw. And I just finished Rockefellers a few days ago, and it was just like I hit the ground running with my own book, and so I haven't really stopped. And I felt like that momentum was going to help me out, like going from one book to the next instead of taking a long break in between, because then you kind of get like, when you don't go to the gym after you worked out constantly, and all of a sudden you become kind of sore and just, kind of lazy. So hi Rob, Studio Art. How many pages do you do for one comic? On average, it's between 24 to 20 pages. I've been doing mostly 22 pages, I think. It's a pretty good length. But lately, the last 2 books I did with my friends, Joe Benitez and Francis Manipul, they were doing some of the pages too, so I didn't have to do a full-on 24-page book, but this one is 24 pages, an issue. 20 to 24 pages an issue, so. And I'm gonna be coloring it, so. Let's do some faces, shall we? Hello, Michael. J6 Studios. Any drawbacks from living in the woods? Really slow internet. That's a huge drawback. That's probably the only drawback. That's why I didn't do any live streams when I was there. And I didn't really upload a whole lot of episodes because it would take half a day to upload like 10 minutes worth of content. So that was a no-go for me. But, I saw wildlife every day. It was beautiful every day, the woods. And so, it's kind of hard to beat that. And, you had to drive 20 minutes to the nearest grocery store and stuff like that. Or 15 minutes at least in the woods. Auburn sucks. Yes. In terms of being away from everything, I don't think Auburn's got anything on how far apart the towns are in Montana. Oh, thank you so much, Jim. Lola, oh, thank you so much. He's still my baby, like I said. I'm hoping to do more Lola at some point. Dami, who's my favorite illustrator? I've got so many. I mean, if you know who they are, I probably love their stuff. If you go to my Instagram, you'll see all the people I follow. Most of them are artists, and that's like 400 of them. Art of Sasuke. Hey, what's up? Do you sell your originals at Comic Cons, both pencils and your inks alike? State of the art, yes, I do. I actually have an art rep as well, and she has most of the stuff that I finish and complete, and then I send it off to her, and then we sell it through the tdart.com website. And once in a while, if I'm at a convention and I had some pages, then yeah, I would be selling them in person. And for the Kickstarter, there'll be original covers, pinup art, and interior pages for some backer tiers. So yeah, Joey, I don't know what happened to Stefan. I haven't seen him since the early days of Facebook, maybe? The Sphinx, how do I know when to move on? I mean, I think it takes practice, but if I had to, like, let's just say make a checklist and my editors know what I'm doing, a lot of times it's like, if you've, your storytelling aspect of it and your layout, you've already hopefully established the story part of it, and then, if something's in the foreground and it's like prominent, hopefully you've already finished rendering it. Anything in the background should be left less detailed, I guess. And so you have to know what your composition and focus is. And so if you know what the focus of your page or panel is, a lot of times you just know to focus on those things, and the background elements you don't want to tinker around with it too much. And so you'll know, like, I'll know if obviously that's not done. So bigger shapes, story elements first, and you kind of take a step back and make sure that the whole page flows the way it should, and there's nothing that stands out, that's sticking out, that's too distracting, that's not part of the storytelling, of the page and book. So that's kind of how I know when to move on. So, and you know what, you could always come back to it if you want to do a little bit more with it, because that happens sometimes too. But you want to get through the bigger parts of your pages first, and storytelling, and then you could go back and add a little detail or fix a face or a foot if you really wanted to. And I mean, I think with comic book deadlines and doing it for work all the time, you can't really like sit there and mull over things too much, because things have to get done. So you start to learn all these like really strategic shortcuts to get through a deadline, which I'm still learning. So I'm gonna be the last to tell you exactly how to do that. But well, Joey, then I showed my age. Oh, thank you so much, Anthony. Unless you're talking about my character, then yeah, thank you. Oh man, what is going on out there? I think there's a garbage truck. See, that's the one interesting about not living in the woods anymore. I start to hear background noise all the time, like the garbage truck would show up at 5:30 in the morning on a Monday, and it's crazy. Today's Saturday. What are they doing up there? At least it's not a leaf blower or something. Okay, so let's... Oh, dang it. Camera's dead again. I have to keep remembering to push the button. It's funny, like, I'll plan my stream for Saturday because, you know, garbage trucks and stuff like that, they're not working. But, I don't know. Today's a little different. So when I ink, I don't actually like to completely black an area out because I like textures a lot. So if you look at his gloves, I kind of shaded it in with pencil, you know, the side of a pencil, but I want to keep some of the brush strokes so there's more movement and fluidity instead of like just completely coloring it all in black, you know, so. Yeah, I'm still using that almost empty thing of ink, and I really like it because it's really thick, and I just water it down a little bit, and you get like these really dark lines in like that dry brush texture. Oh, so Brett, I think there might have been like a little delay. So when it turns off on my end, it probably, I turned it on fast enough where maybe you guys didn't see it. So, which is good. I need to figure that out. These cameras have like a 30-minute time limit on when the screen stays on, and it turns it off to save, I don't know, power or something. Oh my god, Joey. There's nothing hair dye and Asian diet couldn't do, I guess. Then again, I'm cheating. I don't always eat the Asian diet. That's not fair. In fact, I've been trying to find a really good pizza joint to have lunch at lately, but it's so packed that it's hard to get pizza, so I'm craving a bit of pizza. I've had Thai food every day for the last 2 weeks, basically. Okay, that's much better. Okay, let's get to his face. Remember, it's really scary to draw faces. I mean, it's kind of why I do it last. Some people really have to have it drawn first because I think they want to lock in and kind of don't think they messed up. But I think with drawing comic book panels, you could get away with not drawing the face first because you have to get to all these elements of or different panels. So the eyes for me is what I do last because it's really easy for me personally to overwork the eyes, or yeah, then it just looks funny. So, but you know what? I'll be brave today. I'll do that first, so that we have something to look at. So I think last week I used a pen instead of the brush because it could get really thick. And yeah, I'll do that. That should work. So tentatively, I need to get a couple more confirmations next week. But the Morris asked when the Kickstarter is going to be. 1 second. I gotta shut the window. It's funny. I should have done that a while ago. I didn't realize the window was open. So the Kickstarter is gonna start ideally sometime the end of October this year. So I'm getting my butt in gear. It's like it's happening so fast. Hence why I was like building the website today, and that did not turn out great. Hey, Sukusma. Yes, you did. I'm so glad that Saturday is working out because it's working out for me, and you guys are able to come hang out with me. And I don't know if I could go back to do it on a weekday now, but who knows? I might have to at some point. So Anthony, Fund My Comic, or even Indiegogo. I haven't really looked into those yet, and I have enough friends that are used to Kickstarter that are helping me, and my colleagues that are helping me plan it, that I'm just gonna try it out first and see where we go from here. I've never even heard of Fund My Comic. That's interesting, but I think that's a good resource for everybody who's curious about different funding options. What is my goal for the Kickstarter? My main goal is to get you guys to read my book and finally have it see the light of day. So that's my goal. And I got all these tiers planned. I was like having too much fun with them. Sukusma art or Kosma art, it's not really something that happened overnight. I definitely had to screw up quite a bit just to get comfortable with it. It took a few years. Richard Willis, money wise, I would like to at least cover the cost of the printing and the staff and things like that. So we're still working on the exact numbers, so I don't have that for you at this very second. But yeah, definitely to cover the printing costs and the personnel for sure. Yeah, gotta make that money. I'm leaning forward quite a bit. So I'm not going to draw the blood dripping from his nose because, that wouldn't be appropriate for my stream. But when it's colored, he's going to be so beat up. So you'll see it in the comic book. In fact, you know what? When I get to that stage, I will actually show you guys my coloring process for the interior page. So that's going to be done mainly in Clip Studio Paint. So... Oh, thank you so much, Richard. I really appreciate it. And it's funny because I've been doing podcast episodes with my friends on this channel just to pick their brain about their process of launching a Kickstarter and everything. And I'm so lucky that I did not have to do it all by myself because they all went before I did. So, and they've been really, really helpful. And to me, shout out to them for helping me out. So it won't be as daunting as what they had to go through, but even so, it's still crazy hard. So more kudos to everybody who's already been through the process. They say the only way to learn entrepreneurship is to actually do it and just jump head first, or feet first, I guess. Or hello, magical posters. Thank you for hanging out with us. It's really cool that we have a huge international, I guess, what do you call it? we are a family here, right? So that's pretty awesome. Sorry, the beeping sound is distracting me from outside. I don't know. I don't think that's a garbage truck. It's been there for quite a while. Let me move my microphone. Hopefully it doesn't make any noise. Hey, what's up, Christian? Thank you for hanging out with us again on a Saturday. And you know, when I ink faces, I don't like to rush it. So if I'm not like sure about my lines and it's not foolproof, foolproof, I will move on to something else and then come back to it so that I don't overwork the face, like I say, and it looks kind of funny sometimes. See, like his eyes and pupils, I'm gonna wait till the end for that one because I am chicken. Anthony, I don't know if I'm going to be at that Comic-Con, but I have to talk to my agent. I think I'm going to be in Orlando for one of the conventions there in February. That's what I have planned so far. Just because as soon as this book is done, you know, then I could start planning things because right now I can't see past my front desk. The quickest and longest comics for life. Oh my gosh. The quickest, 8 hour, 6 hours. Longest, I mean, it stretches. It depends on if I feel it or not, or if there's so much going on, then it'll take a couple of days sometimes if it's like a double page spread. Like I was telling Brett that I'm probably going to redo a double page spread that's just the cityscape because it's such an important page that I have to redo it. I didn't like how it turned out. Well, Richard, yeah, I draw eyes last, or at least the pupils, because you don't want anything funky to happen, right? Hello, Petro from Italy. Petro? Yeah, sorry, I must be mispronouncing it. Hello, Raphael. Now we have two T1TV here. Oh, nice. Yeah, so now we need Leo, and then we need Don, right? For all the turtles. I need to stop procrastinating. All right, you guys, we're going in for the eyes. It makes sound effects. Hi, Chicken and Mike. That's funny. What's up, Eddie? Hi, Jonathan. Jonathan, if you want to do it, I think you can. As long as you know going into it, it's going to be a lot of fun and pain at the same time. And it's a dichotomy, basically. The more you want to do, the harder it's going to be, but it's a lot of fun. And honestly, it's a lot easier now than it used to be because there's so many resources online and different books and different people like me who are just live streaming where you should be able to learn much quicker and then you can kind of draw along and stuff. And it's exciting. It's supposed to be fun. And, you know, I know like when I'm doing deadlines and it's so tight and you got, you know, bills to pay and everything. And it's really hard to like kind of enjoy it. But at the same time, like what else would, you know, I'd be doing with my time if I wasn't drawing. Yeah, you literally would suffer for the art, but it is worth it. No, for sure. like I said, I mean, what else am I going to do? There's only a dozen, maybe 5 jobs that I'd want to do if I wasn't doing this, where I was like, oh, I'm happy, I'm satisfied. But at the same time, like, yeah, this is it. This is it for me. Adelso. Hey, what's up? You think if you got a career in drawing? Yeah, and you know, manga and animation, I think if you could do one, you could probably do the other. Like, there's a little overlap. Just one takes a little bit more time to finish, I guess. Or some people would say that manga takes more time than animation. So. So he's got his glasses on in this panel, but I don't think I'm going to ink that right now. Thank you, Sicario. Magical posters I've ever tried. Sakura pens, yes. Do you mean like the brush tip ones, or like, let me see if I can find them. I have tons of Sakura pens, like this one right here. This is what you mean right here, the micron. This is the precision nib. So, yeah, I use those often enough, but this book has mostly, luckily, been brush work for me. I use like what is it, microns and multi-liners for like architecture and straight edges and stuff like that. So. Okay, let's try to get dry brush here. Oh, see, it's a little bit wet still. So Joey, that's awesome. So Joey says, I had 2 full-time jobs to pay the bills while I created my first graphic novel, 6 years, but I enjoyed it so much. I'm doing it again now. That's so awesome. And, you know, honestly, they say don't quit your daytime job while you're kind of going from one thing to the other, like for your career. And that's so true, because when I was starting out comics, I was going to college and I had 2 jobs. And I was practicing and getting out there at the same time. And that was around the time when I was drawing that old page you saw from last week, the old Neo Wonderland pages on Eon board. So that was during college. So college and work, and I had 2 jobs. And then I went from that and I did web development for about 10 years while I was kind of breaking into the industry. So if Vince was here, he would tell you that when I first started, I was doing websites. Wait a second. We have... Okay, you guys get to see me correct some stuff. Yep, see, for lines and curves. I use technical pens and rulers. Yes, so Richard, yes, I would use lines, pencils and rulers and templates too. I haven't had to use it yet, but for sure, that's what I use as well. Jonathan, I do contract out to other companies to do their books. Like I just recently did something with Ghost Machine, which is a part of Image Comics, and right before that I was working for my friend's book, Benitez Productions. So yeah, I do work for other people while I'm doing my own thing. Hopefully I'll be able to focus on this for a while for myself so that we could get this moving along. Because I have 3 volumes planned for this bad boy. I mean, geez, you know, after 20 years, I would hope so. Ben asked what my favorite brush brand is. I would have to say the Kuretake brushes are my favorite. Or just regular old brush you get at Michael's sometimes would be good. Like the synthetic hair brushes. It's more of like the size itself that I prefer, like the round 6 or 4s, like this one right here. Those are really nice to ink with. Oh my gosh, Brett, I did not. You know what I think I have to do? I have to get like a silk screen made of like screen tones and then, you know, use that. The only problem with screen tones is, silk screen is, you know, like you could only use it for so many times before it goes bad. And I think the cost to do it versus like utilizing it might be a little much, but maybe I'll try it and see how many times I could use it before I have to get a new screen or something. Zip tones are expensive for sure, so I think the best solution for me would be like like silk screen for like when you're doing t-shirts, but like tiny holes. So I really want to do that still. Yeah, you know what? I should try it on a little piece. I could go to Michael's and pick up like a silk screen and see how that goes. But I would rather not do it on the computer if I didn't have to. Yeah, Richard, the synthetic brushes hold the edges way better. Yeah, magical posters. I do use the white acrylic pens like this to fix my mistakes. It's more permanent than gouache, so I like to use this. However, if I was like doing ink splashes, Eon has white ink that works really well for that. So Eon, Brett would, you know, be able to point you to that. Ms. Mark, really, the cheapest way to get screen tones is go to Japan and buy them. I know, because when they imported here, it's even like 7 years ago, it was still really expensive, and they discontinued a lot of those too, and like you can't even find them online, so it's crazy. Or maybe it's just not on Amazon anymore. I used to buy screen tones at Uwajimaya or Kinokuniya bookstore in Seattle, and I bought so many of them that I was able to use them for a few years, but I have like a few pieces left, and that's about it. Where are we at? Oh, yeah. Okay, so at this stage, this panel isn't done yet, but it's done enough where I could go and work on another panel and just kind of get this, you know, process moving along. So since I already started the first panel, I'm just going to go back and finish inking his hair and stuff. Yeah, you're right, Joe. You don't know until you try, for sure. I've tried some stuff where I'm like, well, that damaged that piece pretty good, and that art supply. State of the art. I actually like Posca the most. I think that's the best. And then, like I think I mentioned maybe when you were gone, Brett, who's on the chat right now, with Eon, has a white ink that's very opaque. That's also good for fixing things or doing like what do you call it? Splashes, ink splatter. Yeah. I don't know if you noticed, but sometimes I don't go exactly where my lines are because I maybe found a better approach to inking. So I don't always go over the lines that I create because I like the fluidity of like maybe picking out another line or something that doesn't exist. It's just that's why my pencils are kind of rough, and I like it that way so that the line weight doesn't feel so stiff, especially when you're inking with a brush. Happy weekend, Echo. Oh yeah, Miss Mark, that's right. Dr. Martin's, PH Martin's has an opaque too. The only problem with me and super opaque ink is sometimes I go months without using it, so it dries up and I forget all about it. And by the time I'm like, oh, I want to do that, and then it's already too dry at that point. So. Plus, I am very messy with ink splatter, so I wouldn't be able to do it here. Yeah, I would get that all over the place. You guys have seen me. I think I did that with that dragon cover that I did, or splash art I did. I used white ink and I had white ink everywhere. Jonathan, usually it's like when we have this desire to make something, we already kind of have a type of story or character we had in mind, and I kind of just go from there. The kind of stories that inspire us, or kind of animations or mangas we like to read, typically is a good tell for like what interests you, and that's kind of where I start. And sometimes it's maybe just because you want to draw something fun, and then you just kind of go with that. So for example, Lola XOXO, which is my post-apocalyptic comic book, we were playing Fallout so much, Fallout 3, that it just seemed like a really fun genre to kind of draw and illustrate and then play, role play in real life. Like, what would happen if, we were in a post-apocalyptic world, kind of like Mad Max? What would you do to survive? It was just kind of the concept behind it. So I thought it'd be fun to draw the wasteland. Fun and easy. Oh, awesome. So Joshua mentioned a different brand of white ink. That's kind of cool that you guys have all these in mind, or you've shared all these. If I can remember, I'll try to put it in the comments, or if you want to, so that everybody could see what kind of supplies you guys are using for like white ink or brushes. Since I don't do enough of it, I don't really have like a go-to outside of my pen, which is actually the Poshka. I'll just leave it right here. So, and I know these are a little expensive, but it's just a quick access for me to fix a mistake. Could you draw Ella Purnell as Lucy from the Fallout TV show someday? Maybe I will someday, yeah. Any tips for drawing fighting scenes? Oh, I guess the way to, because you could do fighting scenes, but I think the thing that, well, sorry, don't realize my camera died again. Fighting scenes, I think it wasn't until, if you watch a lot of the old Jackie Chan, Jet Li movies, or I think you could say John Wick, there's a fluidity, almost like a ballet to it, but you also don't want to miss out on like the storytelling aspect of it. Why are they fighting where they're fighting, maybe? And I guess the next thing is who's supposed to win, and then you kind of choreograph around that, and then you also want to pick interesting angles to draw so that it's not boring and that it progresses the story along. Because if it didn't, then it's just really boring. It's kind of like, honestly, the stereotypical car chase you see in movies. Unless there's like a reason why they're doing it, they're not doing it just because they want to blow up some cars. then it's more interesting and entertaining to watch. So if you guys could tell me right now off the top of your head, what are your 2 or 3 favorite car chase scenes, if you could think of any? But I think the most important thing is like a sense of grace, I guess, in the movements and story. Like this, what is it gonna do to like move the story along? Matrix 2, Gone in 60 Seconds, Bullet Car Chase, the movie Baby Driver, mic drop. You know which one I remembered for some reason? Because it was just so different. Was remember Wanted with Angelina Jolie, where she's on the hood of that car and she's shooting out of the window and stuff? That was cool. And then the car spun around. And I mean, there's so many good scenes. So many good car chases that when you start to think about it, it's like, oh, there are some really good ones. But for some reason, because there's so many, you always think about the not so good ones at first, or kind of ones where you're like, oh, please get on with the story already. But yeah, there's quite a few good ones. Italian Job, Blue Brothers, Car Chase. Jonathan, I do love Dragon Ball and Naruto. They're both awesome. I think Naruto, the one thing that was funny to me, and well, actually, it's Dragon Ball. It's where they would stand and contemplate their moves and what they're thinking, and then there would be flashbacks and stuff. And even though that was happening before they made any move, it was just interesting to watch their inner, monologue. I love Jim Lee's art as well. Film a fight scene and then draw it. That'd be funny if I did that, because I'd be fighting myself because I'm the only one here. So and I wouldn't be able to do anything spectacular. So I like to go look at what other people are doing and kind of figure that out. The Kingsman, yeah, I heard that was good too, actually. Isn't Charlie a pet car? I'm gonna have to check all these scenes out, you guys. You know, I joke about hiking. There's a lot of boring car chases, but the idea of having to do that as a stunt person or just to get your cars to do what they do is insane to me. So huge props to those guys. I wish I could drive like that. Then I would never miss an appointment. Yeah, Xavier, the Dragon Ball, the planet will explode in 5 minutes, which takes 4 episodes. So true. Jonathan inspires me. The classic, image artists, of course, and a lot of the new artists right now. And I have a lot of manga artists that I love, like Obata, and Inoue is a great artist. A lot of times I gravitate towards artists that not only draw and have like really great draftsmanship, but also tell great stories. Like that combo to me is kind of what inspires me the most. People who tell stories and they're also great draftsmen. Because after all, that's what I do for a living. And I think if I like drawing things that are, that involve storytelling. So yeah, Xavier, Naruto was amazing, and he was adorable. It's been a while. I haven't seen a new episode for like, well, I hate to say it, but like maybe 10 years now, at least. Oh, cool. Magical Posters is 13-year-old artist and teaches art in my school as a substitute. That's awesome. That's actually a really good way to get better too, is when you're teaching other people. It's like you have to understand what you're doing and why you do it, and then you also like try to research it too. Because I remember when I taught like a really small, short drawing class in college. I was teaching manga art, which I was really just beginning to do. So I was okay, but that made it so I had to research and learn how to do certain things. Anthony, am I a fan of Peach? Yes, I am. She's absolutely amazing. The character does resemble Kaneda in a way. Oh, wouldn't be surprised. I get inspired by everything. The anime librarian. Hello. Oh, another camera just turned off. Brian made it. Yay! What's up? Yeah, I feel bad every time like someone shows up really late and I'm about ready to leave, and it's like, well, I wish I could stay longer. So luckily for me, I have another hour to go at least. Magical Posters. Yeah, you know what? I did. I actually did kind of the same thing in high school. I did the school's mascot on the, I think it was in the yearbook, and then they took that same art and put it in the gym, like the gym floor and everything. It was kind of cool. You have to get your start there, and I think that motivates you to keep going. Hi, Liz. Thank you so much. Oh, thank you for hanging out with us, Sokolov. Art, see you later. Bye. Man, light is getting kind of bright out here. Let's turn this down a little bit. Of course Vince would vandalize, draw on his lockers and stuff. It's considered art, bro. Like, I have a friend or my acquaintance who He's a famous graffiti artist, and he did really well for a living. So I think that it's straight up art on lockers. Echo, if I'm being honest, I have not paid any attention to what's happening with Echo and Marvel. So sorry, did I say Echo? Okay, I think what I meant to say was I have not been keeping up with what DC and Marvel have been doing lately. Banksy? No, I wasn't talking about Banksy, but yes, same concept. Except for my colleague, people know who he is, so he's not like just a name and no face. So he's not that secretive. Do we skip the eyes again, or do we go back to the eyes? Okay, fine. I'll do the eyes. I keep wanting not to draw the eyes, but just know that when I'm not on camera and I'm doing my own, doing the pages, I usually skip the eyes, the nose, and the lips until later. Unless it's like the main panel, for example, this one is just straight up his face, then yeah, I couldn't avoid that. But otherwise, this whole stream would just be faceless characters. But I will not put his glasses in, so I'll leave that for later. Comics for Life, how much thought goes into lettering? A lot. So I don't have an example. Oh, yeah, actually I do have an example here. So if you could see right here, I mean, it's not the exact size, but I have a rough idea of where the word balloons would probably go in the flow of it. Obviously, like when it shrinks down, the lettering is not going to be that big, but I leave just enough space, especially when there's a lot of dialogue. You have to kind of design your page where it's not all either talking heads or all one size, and there's like variation to it, even though it's just mostly dialogue. The inherent decision to make in that case is like, oh, I'll just draw, talking heads pieces or talking head panels, which doesn't look so good unless there's a reason for it. And the last time I was working on Lady Mechanica, Joe Benitez and Marcia Chen, the writer, they were really good at making sure they helped me reposition my panels, because there was a lot of dialogue in some of the pages, so the pages would be more interesting and less less boring and more dynamic. So kudos to them. Let me see. Well, hello, Hakob from Armenia. I'm doing well, thank you so much. The Goat Gaming, do I listen to music or audiobooks? I don't listen to audiobooks because that's like one extra app I have to like either download or access. So a lot of times I do YouTube like playlists or Spotify, which that's my go-to. I just listen to music. Although there's, you know, some audiobooks that I should be listening to. But truth be told, I like reading books. So I like looking at the words, and because I write, I like to be able to also read someone else's writing instead of someone reading to me. So a lot of times I prefer the actual book itself. So Brett, do I pencil from a plot or a story fully scripted before I begin? Well, you know, like usually it's fully scripted, but lately because of this project, I think I'm gonna do like a decent layout, or sorry, an outline, and then some dialogue in there where I want to know where I think the story's going. I'll have like pieces of dialogue in there just to kind of guide the story along. But I think for this book, there's going to be it's more of an outline and some things that are very specific that I'll write down, but not so much like a full-on script. Like I think, let me see if I could show you really quick. Hopefully this time without a page that doesn't have typos. For some reason, my autocorrect did not catch it. Okay, so for example, this was done on Final Draft, and so this is the full script. So right now, if I were to do this again, I would probably have like a brief description of maybe the page, and then any specific panels I have, and then when I go and lay it out, I'll try to figure out how many panels it's going to take for me to tell that part of the story, and any specific pieces of dialogue that need to be in here, maybe I'll write that down. But then I have not had to type anything out for the first or the second half of the book. So the first 30 pages are fully scripted, but not so much the last few. So magical posters, yes. I actually like to watch movies when I'm like laying in bed, but definitely podcasts and music, that's my go-to. Okay, let's make sure his eyes aren't crooked. That's the toughest thing, right? Normally I would just use my brush to do this part, but since I have all this gear around my desk, it's hard to like move the piece of paper around, so it's kind of hard to ink properly. So I'll probably go back in here and fill in his eyebrows and his eyelashes and stuff. Just want something to look at. This isn't very good. Voodoo, it's 11:20 in France. Wow. I guess it's right when I finish is probably when you're probably going to go to bed, huh? Okay, I'm gonna get really detailed with his little tiny head right over here. So I don't want to mess this up because it's so tiny, and it's such an important panel, or his expression at least. Oh, pocket. Can you translate the 2320 for me? That's 1120, right? Is that correct? And 520 in America. So it's 320 for me. Thank God you guys don't have something that says something crazy like 3 o'clock in the morning. Or maybe there is somebody here that's watching at 3 o'clock in the morning. Raise your hand if you are. Let's go with a really fine tip brush for this one. Hello, Kinoko. Okay. What do I do when I'm not working on my page or work? I like to go hiking a lot. Play video games, eat out. I am left-handed, yes. I'm holding my breath, Miguel, when I'm inking eyes for sure. Ooh, that's a beautiful. So, Kaiser asked, have you obsessed heavily over your lines? What happens when nothing you do fulfills you and every drawing is a rabbit hole of doubts? Sorry for the strange question. It's not strange because it happens a lot. I pout and cry and I just keep going. I don't have very healthy ways of dealing with disappointment in my art. I just sit there and just fume and just get it done because it's my job. So maybe I distract myself by pulling my phone and just scrolling, or once in a while I get to walk away, but not often. I don't have a healthy way of dealing with it, but I get it done. Pre-happy hour events, cheers. Kaiser, I'm sure all of us do that. But you know what? I get my work done, and so that's how I deal with it. I think it's just because there's just so much going on this past few months. I don't have like the healthiest way to deal with it, and I feel kind of guilty when I walk away from my desk. I know you're supposed to like reset your brain, and nowadays I don't even have my phone on me. It's like further back, so I don't have the urge to like pull my phone and start scrolling. So I've been really good at that. But yeah, it's working out okay, I think. Yes, there are deadlines, and since this is my own book, my deadline is self-imposed. But here's the thing, like I said, I have to pay my bills, so I'm relying on myself solely to make this happen. I can't not draw. It's like, Vince will tell you, he's a writer, editor. Even though it's a creative job, it's still your job, and then you find ways to get through it. And I'm sure it's not the only job that's like that. Most of us, when we go to work, we may not feel it that day, but we have to do it anyways. So such a dainty little panel. Comics for life. If my comic could get adapted, do I have a specific studio? I do not have a specific studio, because there's times that I'm like, oh, if let's just say Lola got made into a movie, I would cast this person or that person, and before you know it, that person either gets way too popular, becomes an A-lister, and is like, well, there goes that. So I tend not to tie myself too closely to like that idea, because I really do want to turn it into an animation and, you know, or maybe a film or something like that. So, Brett, I have no idea why it's doing that. Maybe it's something I did wrong. I don't know. You know, Ms. Mark, you're right. If you have that doubt when you walk away, you think you're resetting your brain. It might work. I think it works if I'm not on such a tight deadline. I think I would be able to refresh by just walking, because it's kind of like you're in your flow state and you're kind of happy to do it. But when you're in a rush to get something done, it's just, for me personally, it's really hard. But I think I'm used to knowing that if I just power through something, or I just turn my attention somewhere else, just very briefly, I could probably, you know, do a good job. But so I think the key for me is to basically try to make it so that my deadlines don't get crammed so close together where I'm stressing out. That at least takes away from the stress of making really poor lines and judgment like that. I think that's really important. It's like where your mind is at to begin with is kind of just as important as getting stuck. Because I notice that when I'm kind of more relaxed and I'm not stressed out with like a lot of stuff in the back of my mind, I could draw pretty much the lines that I want that during that time, instead of like you know, really stiff looking lines. But I think if you really, really had to warm up or get out of that rut, the best thing to do is just draw something you're not supposed to draw. And usually your lines kind of loosen up and you're allowed to mess up, you know? So I think that would actually help if you couldn't power through it. So that's me. Or if you're the kind of person that could just take a quick walk, that also helps. Really, it does. So yeah. So is there a healthy amount to practice and not have burnout? I actually just saw Michael Hampton. He posted a video about like how practicing fundamentals could cause you not to like jump into whatever it is you're learning those fundamentals for. So I think just it'd be fun to just kind of practice an hour or two a day, and then kind of just sketch and draw something you want to draw. Even if you're not like really good at it yet, at least you're you're switching your brain from learning to like something fun in the flow state, you know? So. Harlem the Goat Gaming. What do I do to get back into the swing of it when I'm not drawing for a while? I sometimes, you know, like when people say, you know, you should learn to love the process, I think for me personally, and this is how I adapt to it, I obsess over like one line or mark making or an ink stroke, or I kind of see in my head like how it would look if I inked it. And that's how I get into the groove of it. It's like I get excited thinking like my lines are going to look better. So I obsess over how my line looks and feels, and the fluidity of the movement or something like that. That actually helps with getting back into the groove of drawing, you know. But I don't really take breaks from drawing for that long where I'm, you know, having a hard time getting back into it. I think the hardest one might be when I'm doing videos or some kind of media that's not drawing. And then I have to come back to it after a few days, and it feels kind of, you've already exhausted your creative juices, I guess. So Jonathan, no one's helping me draw this particular manga. I was working the Ghost Machine book I was doing with my friend Francis, where I was helping him out. We were doing a few pages each, and then they had a colorist. His name was John. He was doing the coloring for the book. And then we have a letterer. But this one is mostly just going to be me, like, coloring and inking and the story and stuff. Yeah. Hekab, do I play video games? Yes, I do. Lately, though, with my schedule, I mostly just play Call of Duty World War II online, because it's a quick half an hour in and half an hour out, and it's not too time consuming. And then I get my competitiveness going, and that helps me out sometimes. But yeah, that's it. I have a bunch of games though. I told myself that after I finished my friend's book that I was gonna play again, but then I jumped right into this book, so that didn't happen. But I have a few games that I need to get back to. Like, I didn't finish Red Dead Redemption 2 yet, and I have Final Fantasy, and what else do I have? Didn't finish the new remake of Resident Evil 4 yet, so. Warzone? Oh no, not Warzone. The older one. So I tried playing the new Call of Duty, but I was so used to the old PlayStation 4 version that I didn't really like the way that the targeting system worked in the new ones. I might retry it though. So. So let me see if I can show you guys what I mean about, like, if you outline first or do the big shapes first, then when you tackle the smaller shapes like his face down here, then you feel like you've gotten very far. Oh, by the way, P.S. Do you guys remember last week when we had this live stream and I found a vampire smiley face on his arm because John wrote on that? Well, because I actually inked it on the other page, now I am stuck having to redraw that face over and over again. So that's his tattoo. Yeah, didn't intend it, but I thought it was kind of funny. So Easter egg for you guys for when you see the actual book. Oh, thank you. I'm nervous about inking that one too, because I don't want it to look stiff. So Rivals, no, I have not played that one. Thank you so much. Second, guys. Jonathan, yes, I do love animation from Pixar. Do you remember Wall-E? that was and still is my favorite one from Pixar and Disney. He's so cute. I've been trying to get John to watch Wall-E because I think he'd love him. Yes, Jacob, I have seen the footage from the new Resident Evil, and I was telling everybody last week I'm probably not going to play that one because it looks so freaking scary. I think it's because the main characters, you know, she's not like Leon or Chris and Jill where they know how to fight and, you know, use their weapons. So it's like you're pretty helpless, and I don't know if I can handle that. And I think I likened her to Ashley from Resident Evil 4, the original. I think Ratatouille is also Vince's favorite movie from, right, Vince? Well, Xavier, if someone gets that tattoo, John's gonna have to sign it. I love it. It's not gonna be me. I'm not getting that tattoo. Maybe a temporary tattoo. As long as it's not on someone's forehead. I think I could live with it if someone had it like somewhere else on their body, you know. I'm not going to answer that one. Leon or Chris, can't tell you guys. I started off with the first Resident Evil, so we're going to have a fight or battle here. Should I do a poll, Leon or Chris? Hello, Dana from Jakarta. It's is it 4 a.m. or 4 p.m.? Tips for shading. Do you mean shading with ink or pencil? Oh, thank you. Hands on the third panel. Hands are so hard. 4:30 a.m. Wow. Well, thank you for joining us. I hope you wake up early and not because you didn't. Well, if you didn't sleep yet, that's okay too. Then I guess. So tips for shading with ink. Well, there's two ways you could do it. You could do an ink wash, which means you just add extra water, thin it down as much as possible, and then you could kind of brush it in. But I like it where it's not too watered down. So let's see if I could shade somewhere. Let's shade underneath his chin, even though this might not look good because it might be too dark. But so I'm gonna shade down here, and of course, also knowing where your light source is also very important. And obviously, under the chin, it's gonna be darker. So I could shade underneath here and not feel like the light source is all incorrect, I guess. Thank you so much, Richard. Dry brush, yes. Thank you so much, Kelvin. Is sleep very important to your work? Absolutely. Truth be told, early on when I started, I didn't get much sleep because I didn't know what I was doing, and I burned the midnight oil, and you suffer immensely during the day. You can't think straight. You got foggy brain, and it's just all sorts of problems, and you're just sluggish, and so the past few years I've been really good at sleeping a decent amount of hours. I would say between 6 to 8 hours, no problem, and I'm more creatively focused that way, and I have way more energy during the day, and I like waking up early, so it definitely helps. That, and just just taking care of yourself as much as possible. I know it's not possible for everybody, but if you want to, at least the average should be taking better of yourself more often than not, And you know what? It also makes, it's hard to see straight when you haven't slept. The short answer, magical posters, would AI replace us? If it's a short answer, and I could elaborate if you want me to, but I don't think you need my feedback on that. But my honest answer is no. The short reason for that is it's because our art form is in storytelling. Usually, it's like a human connection, and it's what humans do. We like to hear stories. We like humans to make human stories because it shows us like the potential that we're things that we're capable of in a way. And so that's why, like, when you see a lot of CG in a movie that's like a live action and there's a lot of CG, there's a disconnect because there's no risk involved in the things you see on screen. So there's a disconnect, and I feel like with art there is a disconnect as well. So David Hahn, thank you. So as you see, these lines aren't super tight, so I don't really tighten my lines that much, and then I can just jump into inks right away. And I like the fluidity and the way it looks too when it's not super tight, because then when it's really tight, and a lot of artists will tell you this, you're basically, it feels like you're just tracing your lines and it looks kind of stiff, But if there's like an important element like a car or buildings and a lot of scenery, that takes more planning and a little bit more tightness, just so that I know what I'm doing. I'm not good enough to just kind of wing those things yet. My most productive time of the day is between 10 a.m. to like 3 p.m. After that, I get kind of like, my brain needs to reset a little bit, and then I take a little break, and I'm back at it, because then it's like, well, I have all these hours. What am I going to do with my time if I'm not working? Unless I plan on like going backpacking or being outdoors or something where you're kind of forced to do that. But a few times I've had to draw at campgrounds. I think you guys have seen previous episodes where I bring my work to the campground and just work from there, because sometimes I want to get out there and I have deadlines, so I kind of have to do what I can to get my work done. Have I tried digital art? Yes, I do digital art. I mean, I used to do it more, but now I just use it for coloring for the most part. Liz, do I drink coffee? Heck yeah. Yes, I drink coffee. But lately I haven't been able to finish my coffee. I've got so much going on that I'll take a couple sips and then I'm making the bed and I'm halfway through making the bed and I have to do my work or business or answer emails, and then I forget to eat breakfast sometimes and I don't finish my coffee. It was here, and by that time I'm already, like, if you could tell, I'm already going, so I don't need the coffee, which I guess is a good thing. You know, and I understand. Oh, Richard, I totally get it. Like, some people, they have other things going on early in the day, so the best time to work is at night, and your body kind of just adjusts to what's most productive for you, because some people have kids too, and or they're working and doing other things. I drink tea sometimes. I like drinking tea at night, like chamomile, and it just kind of relaxes my muscles. But sometimes when I don't drink enough coffee during the day or whatever, if I'm drinking tea, I'll drink like 4 or 5 cups of tea at night, and that's not good. You know, not good right before you go to bed. Years ago, we're talking like over 10 years ago, I was trying to not drink energy drinks anymore, so I drank like jasmine tea. I just didn't realize how much caffeine was in that, and so I'd drink like tons of jasmine, and I'd just be like shaking the whole time, like, oh my god, what's going on with me? Because I had too much caffeine from the jasmine tea. So I've learned not to drink caffeinated as often as I can. Tea, however, I do like matcha and English breakfast tea, so. Armenian coffee. No, I don't think I have. How is that? What's the mixture of the coffee, the espresso and milk, if they have any, or how is that different? Is it just all caffeine, or sorry, espresso? Okay. Oh, I love chai. I love chai with like cinnamon and some honey or some kind of syrup. I can't just have chai by itself. I don't know if I should say this. Don't judge me. I look forward to the fall because my favorite flavor, I don't get it from Starbucks, but if another coffee shop has it, I'm all over it. I'm all over it until it's embarrassing to drink pumpkin spice lattes. Oh my god. Yeesh. Thank you so much, Peter Palmiotti. Oh, cold coffee with sugar. Miguel, how have you got really loose draft style pencils for you to complete the art, or nowadays editor asks pencils to do them tighter and cleaner? You know what, Miguel, my editors are pretty good because they see my work when it's done. They kind of know what they're getting for the end product, so they don't really need to see tight pencils as long as they know what's going on the page. If they're confused about anything, it's actually easier to fix it in the loose pencil phase, and then when I tighten it, it also makes them go, oh my gosh, there's so much work being put into this that it's kind of hard to edit that at some point. Even with ink, so if there's something that needs to be edited, I could always go in there, pencil a few things, ink it, and then scan it into like a program, and then just like it's called a patch basically. Yeah, pumpkin spice is amazing. You know what, Hikab, I will actually look into the Turkish coffee. I'm curious now because I thought I knew everything about coffee. I guess I don't. Well, Voodoo, if you mean by draw with coffee instead of ink, is when I accidentally dip my pen into my coffee cup. Yes, I have drawn with coffee on accident. And I've also almost drank a jar of ink. Some, like watered down my ink water. Yes, yeah. Don't put your coffee cup next to your ink. Okay, let's see if we could start on the third panel so you guys can see how I approach two characters on a panel, and maybe some speed lines or something. Pakistani chai. I will definitely ask about that and see if they have it around here. Shading with coffee. You know what? Coffee is a pretty color. So it's not the worst idea in the world, but it might smell like coffee. Speed line for the win. Like I mentioned this before, like if I could just draw speed lines on a page, I would. Funny enough, one of the more recent pages I did for Rockefellers is mostly speed lines, and I was like, this is so much fun. It worked for that page, but it doesn't work all the time. Twisted Zeus, what's up? Well, thank you, Udo. Oh, Robert, Cody Rosh. Okay, I'll take a look. Cool. My favorite superhero. Who is it now? It changes from time to time. Who is my favorite superhero? It was Iron Man for a while, and of course early on it was like I used to love Psylocke. Wolverine was one of my tops for the longest time. I think he would still be up there. But if you had to the thing with superheroes is because there's the movie versions and then there's the comic book versions, and sometimes you kind of mishmash both of them together, so you have like this false memory of what characters you actually like. So that's why when they do it right in the films and it reminds you of the characters from the movies, the comics, it's like special, and then so I guess Wolverine would be my favorite. But then again, Gambit was my favorite too. So real superhero. I mean, they're so different from generation to generation, Nice. So Magic Posters literally was just drawing them. I remember you drew an X-23 piece. Oh yeah, that was fun because I got to draw her. It was paying homage to that Wolverine cover. So she was in the sewer, I guess, and I got to draw the really cool lines, the reflection and stuff. So that was neat. I think Xena, Richard. So, okay, let me move on from these speed lines because I don't think you guys need to watch me do this right now. But let's go with his leg. You know what? I'm going to try to ink it as fast as possible so you can see what normally happens when I'm inking, let's just say, an action panel, and then like when I'm trying to get my work done, I guess. We're my best friend, Deadpool. Yes, Deadpool is silly, silly, silly. I've drawn my fair share of Deadpool commissions. So when I'm just working and I just have music on, this is about the speed that I'd be going at, because then I would just be focused on that. Again, remember, outlines first for the speed, and the feeling of accomplishment. Big shapes will help you faster than anything else. Because once you add a certain amount of detail to a certain panel or part of the panel, then you're kind of stuck having to work backwards or kind of render detail at the same level because you've already started doing that. So big shapes first. Yes, Voodoo I do normally start with the outlines because it just speeds up the process, and you get to kind of see the flow of the page a lot more easier too. Left-handed is crazy. I guess I'm so used to it. It looks so normal to me. Do I enjoy Metallica? Yes, I do. I have a couple of Metallica songs on my playlist, though. I have Unforgiven. I have I Disappear from Mission Impossible 2. That's my favorite song. And, of course, the most awesome is Nothing Else Matters. So... I don't literally rock. I don't literally rock like Greg Capullo. He could play a mean. What do you call it? I cannot think. He's basically just smashing it. I did not hear their last album actually, but you know what? I'm so impressed by the fact that they're touring and they just have all this energy still live. I mean, that's really impressive. At their age, I would like to be like on fire like that. Master of Puppets by Metallica. Okay. I'm going to have to check that out too. Oh man, Anthony, like the thing with music especially, sometimes, you can't, it's really hard to separate kind of life experiences with the music writing, and I see that it changes a lot with musicians or just artists in general. Sometimes, like even with me, if I get tired of something I've been doing for a long time, I will switch it up even though I know it's jarring sometimes, and it's so different. But I'm going to have to listen to it, and I'll give you my feedback next week if you're here and tell you what I think of it. And I'll be, a little bit more generous to see if it's just, if it's a music thing or just the writing thing or the singing aspect of it. Richard, yeah, jazz is amazing. I listen to lo-fi jazz, so it's a little bit of a beat to it, and then it's also jazz. And you got like those really cool pictures and images of coffee shops or cute little creatures walking around on YouTube. So I listen to those lo-fi jazz playlists that they have. But it's usually 3 years prior, because right now I think a lot of people are using AI for the music, so it just sounds clunky. And so I tend to stick with playlists that are older than 3 years old, just for my ears. Oh yeah, voodoo. Like there's times when I was at the cabin, and I think I've had some episodes where you could see and hear the rain outside, and it was so cozy. And you know what I liked doing back then was like I would put on my Skyrim playlist that they have on YouTube, and you would see the backgrounds from Skyrim and just people walking around, and I'd have the music playing, and right outside my window is like these pine trees and rain or snow. I mean, talk about a dream. But the internet was bad, so hence why we're not in the woods. So I'm going to show you guys something I do, since we have to sharpen this anyways. This is going to make a little mess on my desk, but should be okay. Let's just not be too adventurous. I'm going to sharpen with my Sharpie, or my X-Acto knife, really quick. Okay. So I get these really cool, long, and so the tip of the pencil varies a lot, and I like the line weight that it makes when you shave it off like this with an X-Acto knife. So I mean, I could go really crazy with this, but yeah. And I like the sound of the wood shaving coming off too, so yeah. And they teach you to do that in art school, so it's pretty awesome. Starlink did not work in the woods because we had so many trees. So the satellite would go in and out, and clouds and stuff. So it doesn't work when you're below the tree line as well. So it wasn't going to be worth the money. But I don't have to worry about that now. Ink with a quill. You use the blade to clean it. I can imagine that, because then you have to scrape all that ink off, right? The really dry ink. Voodoo, I love Rot Ring, but you're right. The lead gets stuck, or the pencil itself doesn't hold together very well, which is crazy to me because they're expensive pencils. So I like the ergonomics of them, but they don't they don't work 100% of the time. So yeah, it's unfortunate because my favorite was like the 7mm, the 2mm, which recently the top came off and it was hard to, it wouldn't stay in. So I don't know, and I'm too busy to try to figure it out, even though it was pretty expensive to begin with. Okay, you guys, I think I'm gonna ink for another, what, let's just say 10 minutes. And then I'm gonna have to see you guys, maybe next Saturday, but maybe sooner. Depending on when I get this Kickstarter thing moving. Hey, what's up, Mitchell? Is it John Mitchell? So, King Jerome, I'm using, I think this is a Strathmore, I think. I just ordered new Eon boards, so typically I'd be using Eon boards. My ink is the Sumi Ink 60 from Kuretake, Manga ink. So. Okay, Miss Mark, well, have a good Saturday, and thank you so much for finally being able to stop by and hanging out with us. Magical Poster, what are Marvel's requirements for comics? There is a book called, it's like Drawing Comics the Marvel Way, and it's by Stan Lee. I don't think you need to completely digest that book if you don't want to, but generally speaking, they want you to be able to, draw their characters very well, obviously, be able to tell a story with panels. I would start with getting really good at penciling just the panel, let's just say, a page layout first before you start inking and stuff, and get really good at like dynamic poses and storytelling, I guess. Oh, sorry. Every once in a while my camera just turns off. So, the Black Star ink, Voodoo, I couldn't find it online either now. So I'm just wondering if they're rare and hard to find now, because I bought mine a few years ago. Thank you so much, Brett. Well, thanks for hanging out with us, and thank you again for everything you're helping me with. So I will talk to you very soon, I guess. Yes, perspective is a must learn. And you know what's really good about learning your basics first is when you have to fall back on that for when you have tight deadlines, you're going to fall back on the system that you built to figure something out. So it's really good to learn fundamentals. I mean, don't go crazy with it, I guess, because then you don't feel like, because you feel like you're stuck drawing. I think Michael Hampton said this, like just boxes and shapes the whole time and not really actually utilizing it, and anatomy and just muscles. So it's good to take a break from that and just draw what you want to sometimes while you're studying, so you're not constantly just studying and you're not seeing the end results of it. And even when I was studying the basics, I would go in and draw my own finished pieces, even if it wasn't perfect. Like, it's a good way to utilize what you've learned, I guess. Oh, no problem, man. All right, thanks, David, for stopping by. You have a good Saturday. Okay, so I guess we got that done. It's not horrible. Yeah, Alpha Ghoul, that's a great book. And also, his name slips me just now. His book was called Framed Ink, and I love his books. His books are amazing. There's like 3 or 4 of them now. It's like perspective, just basic comic book storytelling aspects of it, yeah. And of course, Proco's got a great channel. And then there's, Michael Hampton's awesome channel. I'll leave his link down below as well. And of course, if you want like comic book stuff, of course, I'm going to recommend my buddy Ryan Benjamin again. His channel is amazing. And if you want to hear guys just talking a lot and taking jabs at each other, and they're hilarious, but they're amazing artists. The Ink Pulp podcast is really good for just chilling and watching these guys just like chat and stuff. So, what do we think? Okay, so I think I'll finish their hands and then I'll call it a stream after that. Oh yeah, Bridgman's really good. In fact, someone asked me a few times, and this is a very common question, is style. How do you draw or create your style? Bridgman is, a lot of those guys have like some very stylized anatomy books, so you kind of see where some people are more angular with some of their shapes and some are more soft and rounded, so it's kind of a preference thing, but that's kind of how you start to develop style, Oh, no problem, man. Magical posters, yes. Hello, Lyric. Yeah, Comics for Life. Ryan loves teaching too, so his stuff is always exciting to watch when he's teaching you how to draw, and he's super duper fast. One of the fastest in the industry. And the sweetest guy, so he's like a win-win. So this right here, this brush, Norberto, is it's a really cheap Artist Loft pencil. It's a number 6 round, and this I got it at Michael's craft store, so it's pretty common. You might be able to find. I think the most important part is if you get it online, anything would work as long as it's a round 6 or 4 brush and it's like synthetic hair. Then it's really good for inking. So. Okie dokie. I think I'm gonna take a break and go have dinner. And I will see you guys, if not sooner, definitely next Saturday. So I think I'm gonna be home on Saturday. Oops. Okay. Oh, congratulations, Lyric. That, like I say, drawing and finishing a project, regardless of how you feel about it, I think just put it out there is probably the most important thing you could do. That's awesome. Aw, what is that a crying, purple crying face? Thank you so much, Lyric. Make sure I'm not missing anything first. Well, you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I will definitely see you sometime next week. So remember to keep drawing. And I know it's really late or really early for some of you, so thank you for hanging out with me. It's a crying face. Caballero is so cute. Oh. Thanks, Christian. Thanks, Voodoo. Good night, Arthur. Or day. Is it day there? Alpha. Yeah, man, let's do it. Let's go for next Saturday, maybe sooner if I could figure all this stuff out. So I'll definitely see you guys soon. Thank you, Donna. Trevor, yes. Magic posters. Bye, John Mitchell. Yes. Master puppets. See you next week, Richard. All right, you guys, take it easy. Have a great Saturday, okay? So I'm gonna count to 10, and then I'm gonna stop streaming. So I will see you guys next week. Bye, guys. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. See you guys soon.